All right, welcome back to the channel. Terence Bud Crawford, does he have a Mike Tyson problem? Mike Tyson's main problem was laid out by the great Roger Mayweather in an interview that he did. And I want to talk about that and how that could very well apply to the career of Terence, the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, Bud Crawford, in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. So, Roger Mayweather was asked a question about Mike Tyson, and I cannot help but wonder whether or not the same thought process that Roger Mayweather gave to Mike Tyson, if this does not or could not also apply to Terence Crawford. And if it applies to Terence Crawford is in a very tough position in his career right now. So let's go into it. Mike Tyson, according to Roger Mayweather, basically beat guys because he scared people half to death. And because he hit so hard, people were basically losing the fight before they got into the ring. They were scared of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson knew that they were scared of him. As a result, Mike Tyson didn't necessarily train the way Mike Tyson would have trained otherwise. According to Roger Mayweather, Mike Tyson has people so scared that he didn't even need to train because the guy could just get in there, hit a guy with a two-piece, and the guy was going to be out of there, right? So that's the problem that Roger Mayweather described for Mike Tyson. And then he said, though, with the problem with that with Mike Tyson was once he got up in there with somebody that was going to be like, nah, you have to prove it to me, then things went bad for Mike Tyson. So he mentioned obviously Evander Holyfield saying, nah, I don't believe that. And James Buster Douglas saying, nah, you gonna whoop me, you gonna have to prove it to me, right? You're gonna have to prove that you are what everybody's saying you are. And they went at him. And as a result of them going at him, they beat him. And that's kind of, that's the scenario that Roger Mayweather laid out for Mike Tyson. So I can't help but wonder if, there's any other fighters that really applies to in boxing. Somebody that basically has people that get into the ring with him. He's fighting with people that don't think that they have a chance to win. And as a result, he's having a lot of fights that are very, very easy fights and wondering whether or not if they get into a situation where they fight somebody that's not scared of them, whether they're going to be put into a level of fighting that they're not used to. And for me, an obvious one is Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is that guy. First of all, Terence Crawford is the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. In my opinion, number one top guy in the boxing world. A lot of other people believe the same thing. Not that a lot of other people believe in it makes a difference or not, but seeing as other people throw that out, I thought I'd throw that out as well. Andre Ward believes he's the number one pound for pound guy in the world. Floyd Mayweather Jr. believes that he's the number one pound for pound guy in the world. And I don't know if Tim Bradley still thinks that or not, but those two guys, in my opinion, they are the last two consensus top pound for pound fighters in the world. In my opinion, I would say Canelo, but again, of course, Canelo popped dirty, so Canelo has to be up off my list. But that's Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford has dominated at 135. He dominated at 140, and he's beaten up convincingly and one-sidedly everybody he's fought at 147. But he hasn't really fought anybody that has believed that they had a chance to win since maybe Yuriorkis Gamboa, right? I don't think that's definitely not been the case in the last 2 years. Jeff Horn didn't believe that he had any chance to win. Amir Khan didn't believe and fought exactly like he didn't have a ability to win. Same thing for Egis Kalvinakis. I always call him Egis Klimas. That's the manager. Same thing for Egis Kalvinakis. Same thing for Jose Benavidez. Those are a bunch of guys that Terence Crawford can get in there with and do whatever he wants to do. Now, I don't believe that the scenario was comparable in that Terence Crawford is not going to work out. That Terence Crawford is not staying in the best shape that he can be in, and that he's not primed and ready to fight. I don't believe, from what I can see, that his training regimen would take a slack and that he's going in there not training for fights. I don't believe that's the case. I've seen nothing to make me believe that's the case, like Roger Mayweather described with Mike Tyson. But what I do believe is that if you're not constantly fighting guys that are at the highest level of competition, that you're going to be able to get away with things in boxing matches that you would not get away with against higher level guys. So, for example, the fact that everybody pretty much is hit Terence Crawford since he got to welterweight at one point in time. I think maybe Amir Khan might have never really gotten a decent shot in on him, because Amir Khan was definitely looking for a soft spot to grab that mat. He was looking for the first opportunity he could get out of that fight, and didn't give Terence Crawford much of a fight at all. But Jeff Horn didn't walk in there thinking that cat was, Jeff Horn might have touched him a few times. Jose Benavidez touched him up, fought relatively evenly for a couple rounds. Same thing for Egas Kalvanakis. But then when Terence Crawford just wanted to get rid of him, Terence Crawford just upped the pace on him, and they were gone. Once they gave Terence Crawford anything to think about, Terence Crawford just ramped it up a little bit, pushed forward, and those guys folded. They folded. Now, I don't believe Jose Benavidez actually folded. I think Jose Benavidez got caught with that uppercut and really got knocked out. But still, that's that level of competition. And there's a lot of things that Terence Crawford was allowing those other fighters to get away with. So when he moves up in competition, because Terence Crawford, to be the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, and I can maintain that he is, and he fighting Sean Porter or Ugas or Errol Spence Jr. is a big step up for him in his career. It's a big step up. It's probably the fighting Errol Spence Jr. would definitely be, or fighting Ugas, Yordenis Ugas would be the most evenly matched fight that Terence Crawford has had in his career, and that's Ugas. Porter would be even more evenly matched. Errol Spence Jr., same thing. So what happens to Terence Crawford when Terence Crawford gets in the ring and he doesn't have the same amount of time to think that he had against other fighters? What is he going to do if he's in trouble, but he steps it up? But then it's not in trouble, but say, he has some close rounds. He starts off slow. He's a little bit behind and he wants to pick it up. But now when he picks it up, the other guy picks it up too. What happens when he gets somebody that has studied him so much that they know his tendencies, and not only do they know his tendencies, but they have the ability to prepare for and react to his tendencies and take advantage of his tendencies. That's what happens when you're fighting or competing at the top level. But you don't get that when you're not fighting at the top level. So even if you are somebody that is a top level fighter and an excellent fighter, but if you're fighting guys that aren't at that level, you still then have to deal with the transition to somebody that's fighting at your level. Jumping from a fight that's 80-20 to a fight that's 55-45, hey man, and you're used to being able to make mistakes. You've gotten yourself into bad habits. You've gotten yourself into prideful ways that you feel like Terence Crawford feels like it. Watching Terence Crawford, it feels like he believes at any point in time in the fight that he can just impose his will and that guy's going to go away, right? That's not much different than the Mike Tyson, oh man, wait to me. I just can't wait to lay this one shot on you and you're going to get up out of here. You're going to run away, right? If that wasn't there for Mike Tyson, he lost. If that's stuff that I just described is not there for Terence Crawford, Terence Crawford can be in just as big a situation. So that's why I'm pushing so hard and continue even through this hiatus in boxing to push for Terence Crawford to have the fights against Ugas, to have the fight against Sean Porter. if Danny Garcia was possible, to have the fight against Danny Garcia. But when this rest is over and before he gets in there with Errol Spence Jr., it is definitely in Terence Crawford's best interest not to get in there with somebody that is as close to Errol Spence as you possibly can get, that's going to have him continue to fight at that higher level. Otherwise, man, I'm telling you, man, he could get up in there at that level of competition and not really realize what it is because he hasn't been in it before, where Errol Spence Jr. has been at that high level of competition before, where it was a give and take type of fight with Sean Porter, with Kell Brook. Might not have been with Mikey Garcia, but shoot, Mikey Garcia was at least in there trying to think, but he did blow out Mikey Garcia. So that one might not necessarily apply as well. But yeah, in all, man, I think Terence Crawford might very well be in a little bit of a Mike Tyson type of position right now. But I hope that isn't the case for long. It doesn't look like it looks like it's going to be the case because Bob Arum and Top Rank just don't have anybody for him to fight, But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.